Morning, y'all. Venture Brad here. Little Shackleton the Explorer that I just woke up. Right here at a nice little campsite, making some coffee, enjoying the sunrise. And I just wanted to share with you guys how I charge on the go. Um, what's my method? Well, main thing is before I leave, I charge everything up. Start one. Everything's rechargeable. Either uses USB-C or micro. I really wish everything was just USB-C, but unfortunately, I don't think micro USB is ever going to go away. In my little bring in the tent bag, which is everything that I need in the tent, which I highly recommend doing something like that. Just put everything you need in the tent in a bag. Then that way you can just set it in the tent and have all your stuff that you need. So anyways, that's my in the tent bag. And I carry charging cables, 2 of each, just because stuff happens. I hate taking junk and extras, but I take one big one for my phone, and then I take 3 other little short ones like this for extras. One pro tip is if you take rubber bands and put between your phone and the power bank, it's a good way to hold them together if you're actually using them a lot, using your phone and all that. But most of the time my phone just sits off to the side. So yeah, that's how I charge off the power bank. Now this power bank, a couple things to it here. You can see on the top there's 2 ports, 2 USB-A ports. One's covered in tape. That's the charge port. This is a 2.1 amp. This is a 1 amp. It gives like a half amp when it's cold. So throw it in the bottom of your sleeping bag and all that, or put all your chargeables together or something so they could not lose heat together or something. If it's really cold out, like I'm camping when it's going to go below freezing, I put all my things that are battery based together and I throw a hand warmer in with them, and then I throw them in a bag or somewhere so they could all keep heat onto each other. So yeah, lipos don't work when they're cold. My phone last night, just as an example, I went to sleep, it was 58%. I woke up this morning, it was at 2%, just from the cold. So that's my power bank. If you notice on the power bank, it's got these random pieces of tape. The external tape around it is because one time I dropped it and it split the case. I clipped it back together, but I like the idea of tape. The little pieces are tape. These ones are for the USB-A port, and these ones are for the micro port. But I'm sure you guys are asking, but Brad, you go on more than multi-day trips, and this will last a day or two. Actually, these things you got a lot of juice in them. If you're not sitting there playing Nintendo or whatever you do on your phone, if you're actually just kind of recharging batteries, lights, and that sort of thing, do it. Oh, one thing I wanted to point out. I have this other little USB power bank. I had a real small one, which is my preferred one, but this is my middle one. This is my day tripper. I brought it because I lost my little one, but I like that. And you guys pick up these on eBay, Amazon. You get a whole pack of these USB LED lights. Just plugs into USB LED light. You get a whole pack of them for like $3, pack of 10. Order some, give them to your friends, throw them around. They're handy as heck. Anything that's got a USB port now has a light, which is really handy. These lights, I have one of those little watt meters. It doesn't even register on the watt meter. I run and run and run. What I do is I plug that into there, and I hang it. I keep a rubber band up on top of my tent, so that way it's multi-use. And then when I fold my tent up, it doesn't go away. I just hang it up there. It's a great little way. Another pro trip is to set your water bottle on it. Shine the light up like this, set your water bottle on it. Acts like a nice little glowing lamp. So get you one of these. They're handy to have around. But yeah, so if you're going on a one-day trip, this will work out fine. But if you're going on a multi-day trip where you need a way to charge it, don't get one of those little USB solar charger banks. They're a joke. They don't charge. You would have to have the thing like right at the sun the whole time. It's a bunch of BS. Our stuff uses way more voltage than those little photovoltaic cells are going to give you back. It's all a market. It's all a gimmick. Just get the cheapest battery bank that you can find. It's got the most oomph to it that makes sense to you. And then I'll show you how we charge it on a bike right now. Just a little pro tip. One thing you guys really want to do when you're out here multiple days, things get scruffy, grimy, that sort of thing. Take care of your feet. Lieutenant Dan. Baby wipes, again, these are always indispensable. 1 or 2 changes of clothes is about all I'll ever take, even on multi-day stuff, because by the time I rotate and I'm through my second step, I can find a stream or something somewhere to wash clothes in, hang them out dry, that sort of thing. So that doesn't really concern me. But every day I have a specific bag. This is my sock bag, so clean socks. Every day I put on clean socks in the morning. When I first wake up and I'm wandering around, it's the day before socks. This is my dirties bag. All my dirties clothes go in there. Um, Clean socks. Um, Wipe your feet down really good with baby wipes. And then here's the hard part, and here's the part that probably make a video, is you have to sit, preferably with your toesies in the sun, your toes like the sun, even though if it's kind of chilly out. Sit here and let your feet dry. They have to dry completely. Baby wipe them off real good, clean them off real good, but you have to let them dry. If there's any moisture at all, that's just going to start the funkiness right with your new socks. So dry your feet out real good. Keep your toenails trimmed. Keep your feet in good shape, and that before the trip. So that way you're not getting hangnails or things festered and that sort of thing. And then every day, socks. Now, I prefer wool blends just because full wool is really expensive, but I really like wool. It keeps you warm when it's wet. It doesn't get funky. Um, Cotton's good for about t-shirts and socks in the summer around town. But for the most part, yeah, rock wool socks. Keep your feet clean. New socks every day. Like I said, here's 4 or 5 pairs of socks in here. Because I like to have extra socks. It's just even middle of the day, if you're feeling funky or if you have to get real sweaty because you have to push something out or do something like that, sweat kills, especially when it's cold out. So strip your layers soon. But then when you get a chance, change your socks out so your feet aren't all swampy, because then they'll get gross, they'll look like raisins, and they'll be infected raisins. And that's no good because your feet are everything. Anyways, guys, back to charging.
So let me add to all this. The reason why I don't have charging up on my handlebars, well, there's many reasons, but one, and I'll cover in another episode, I don't use my phone too much when I ride. I tend to enjoy the ride, so I don't use my phone. I just stick it in my riding pocket. I like to have it on me in case something happens. I don't like, it's another thing, I don't want it stuck to the bike. If I crash and I'm in a ditch, bike's over there, a lot of times I don't have reception where I'm at, but I want a better chance of the phone being on me. So I don't charge when I go. I don't use it as GPS. Again, we're going to go into all that in another episode. I think Shackle wanted to say hi. He sees me talking to somebody. So I don't like to use my phone. I don't, and the other thing is I like to keep the BS and the stuff to go wrong on the bike to a minimum. That's again why I want this bike. That's why I don't have a bunch of stuff added to it. So what I do have added to it are 2. They call them SAE plugs, and they're these wonderful little plugs that are mainly used for battery tenders. I have one that's actually heavy duty that could be used for jump starting if I need to. And then Shackle, you're a little licky right now. And then the other one is just right here, and it's just a plug that goes down behind my body work and runs down chassis up to my battery. Always have that stuff fused. Don't ever just run bad stuff without fuses. But it's just a regular USB-A port. Uh, it's marketed as putting out 2.1 amps. You guys could look at another episode I have, but they have these cool little checkers. I highly recommend you get one. They're just curiosity is all heck. They're cool for, but the USB checker plugged it in here. Root of the story is it only puts out 1.6 amps, but that's enough to charge this. By charging this, now I can charge other peripherals, as you already saw, while I'm out and about, when it's actually a better situation to charge them. When you're out bouncing and going off road and all that, plugs are dancing and moving and everything. You don't want, at least I don't want my expensive cell phone with a plug in the bottom of it going wiggly, 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 way faster than I just wiggled it down every little washboard road that I'm on. It just does not make sense to me. So I rather have something expendable. Cheap USB charger, and again, what I actually was using before, hold on, let me go get this. Never mind, it's laying inside on the bench, on the bench production side. But it was just a USB cigarette lighter plug, you know, round little thing. The center of those is positive, the outside shielded part, when you stick your finger in, it's grounded. I just cut one of those off, welded one of these SAE plugs to it, and that was, until this showed up in the mail for the first couple of trips on this bike, that was this. That was what I was charging on. It worked good. So if in a pinch, and if I'm out and about and this thing dies, I will, with my pocket knife, cut this off, walk into the closest Quickie Mart, buy one of those things, take it apart with my Quickie knife or a rock, use the inner circuit board, wrap it with a little bit of tape you should be carrying anyways, and now I'm back to charging. Simple, simple, simple. That's the whole plan. Keep it going. And again, if my battery bank dies or my charging cable dies, it's replaceable, it's expendable. I carry 2 of these micro style ones and 2 USB-C ones. So that way I can be charging 2 things, or if one fails, blah, blah, blah. Again, power banks are readily available and fairly cheap, especially compared to a cell phone. If one dies from wiggle, 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 or I drop it or whatever else, no big deal. One other note on this. This is supposed to be waterproof. I'm sure it's only as waterproof as this cover is. If I get into a serious rainstorm, especially in this position, I'll just reach up behind here. It's not that hard to do. Pull the wire out, disconnect the SE plug. Then I don't have to worry about this shorting out. It could dry out good later. And if I was in a rainstorm, I'm not going to be leaving this out. A little splash and a little water and no big deal. Again, I cover up all the ports that I'm not using. And the way they actually attach this, and the grand finale of all this, is on my saddle bar bag mount thing, saddle box mount. I have just a Velcro strap screwed up into the bottom of it here. So I have a piece of Velcro, which is double duty. One is it keeps it from sliding in and out, and it'd probably be sufficient on its own. Velcro's pretty good. And then it's a cushion. I should probably actually have a little Velcro under it. So then that sticks it to the saddle box. And then this comes around, and this is called a Footman Loop. These are all cool. Thank you, Bacon, for these. But they're ultra handy. Stainless steel. They go, so I have one of these pop riveted on the inside of my box. That adds a little bit of weight, but it's another tie down point if I need it, and it's a nice way to strap this thing on. Like that. Strap's not really adjusted right now. And then I can just plug things in. And then when I'm out and traveling, it's hooked straight to my battery. If I go into a Quickie Mart or getting gas or whatever, 2.1 amps at 5 volts is half that, less than half that at 12 volts. So less than an amp, no big deal for it to be sitting there doing that for even a half hour or an hour or so. If you go in and have lunch or something like that, it's not going to kill your battery. It's not the end of the world unless your battery's already marginal anyways, and it's probably better to learn that in town than out in the Rockies. But then once I hit the hills, or towards the end of the day anyways, this thing's back to charged up when I'm heading back into the dirt or that sort of thing, and I'm done with my slab time, then I unplug it. And again, if it dies or falls off, no big deal. I don't use my electronics for the night. But that's how I charge on the go. That's how I maintain my feet. I'm not going to stick my feet up because I'll probably knock the camera over right now. But anyways, I appreciate you guys hanging out. I hope you get. I love when people make a muffin tin man. I love those comments. Just keep them coming. I love that you guys get something out of it. That makes it cool for me. I enjoy doing these videos as long as you enjoy them. So have a good one. Stay safe and happy trails.